Hello everyone. I am excited to tell you about Ballerina by Darcy Basel. She used to be a famous ballet dancer, shares wonderful stories about ballet. This book is Magic Ballerina. So let's start the first chapter of the book, The Dress Rehearsal. Delphi Durant danced in the bright spotlight. Around her on stage, the other girls from her ballet school stood in darkness. Delphi was playing the main part in the show, the bluebird who brought light back to the animals in the woods. She finished with one leg stretched out behind, her arms held out like wings, holding the pose perfectly without a single wobble. Slowly, the lights began to come up on the stage as if sunlight was gently returning. The other dancers looked around in wonder and then suddenly they all began to dance. Delphi skimmed across the floor with tiny steps. It was wonderful being up there, and it reminded her of the times she had been in another theater, a secret, magical one. For Delphi owned a pair of special red ballet shoes, and when they started sparkling, they whisked her away to a theater in the magical land of Enchantia. All the characters from the different ballets lived in Enchantia, and Delphi had enjoyed some great adventures there. As the music ended and everyone relaxed out of their final poses, Delphi heard the sound of her ballet teacher, Madame Zaza, clapping from the hall. Well done, everyone, Madame Zaza called, smiling at them all. That was a very good dress rehearsal. Go and get changed, and then I will give you some notes so we can make the actual performance even better. Delphi stretched. Her muscles felt warm and tingly. Her two friends, Lola and Poppy, came running over to her. You were brilliant, Delphi, Lola exclaimed. I wasn't. Delphi blushed modestly. I got some things wrong. I didn't see you get anything wrong at all, said Poppy loyally. Well, I did, came a voice behind them. Delphi looked round. Suki Teller, one of the other girls in their dancing class, was standing behind them in her rabbit costume. Don't be so mean, Suki, Lola frowned. Ignore her, Poppy muttered to Delphi. She's just jealous. Delphi had a feeling Poppy was right. Suki had been hoping she would be the bluebird, and ever since Delphi had got the part, Suki had been really horrid to her in class. Suki scolded at Delphi. Madame Zaza should never have picked you to be the bluebird. I would have been much better. And tossing her head, she marched off. Delphi felt the excitement and happiness fade away. But seeing Poppy looking cross, she forced herself to act like she didn't care. She wouldn't want her friends to be upset too. Come on, she said, trying to sound cheerful. Let's go and get changed. Delphi ran lightly off the stage with Poppy and Lola following, but as she reached the wings, someone came running towards her from the opposite direction. Delphi was taken by surprise and they collided heavily, with Delphi crashing to the floor. Looking up, she realized it was Suki. Oh, Suki said, rubbing her elbow. Watch where you are going, Delphi. You were the one who ran into me. Delphi went to get up, but pain stabbed through her left foot and she gasped. Oh, my ankle! Poppy tried to help her, but when Delphi put her foot down, it really hurt. I can't stand, she said. I'll go and get Madame Zaza, Poppy dashed off. Lola swung round to Suki. You did that on purpose, Suki scolded. What do you mean? I bet you tripped Delphi up because you wanted her to be hurt. Lola said accusingly. You are her understudy, so if she doesn't dance the part of the bluebird, you will. Delphi stared. Was Lola right? Had Suki really run into her on purpose? Suki turned red. I didn't, she stammered. She broke off as the backstage door opened and Madame Zaza came, hurrying into the wings. Delphi, what happened? Delphi blinked back the tears. I have hurt my ankle. But how? Madame Zaza asked. Suki sent Delphi an imploring look. For a moment, it was on the tip of Delphi's tongue to say that Suki had run into her on purpose, but she didn't know that for sure. And anyway, she hated it when people told tales and got others into trouble. I tripped, she said. I was running off the stage and I just tripped over. Poppy and Lola stared at her. That isn't what Lola began. It is what happened, Delphi interrupted. She saw a look of relief flash across Suki's face. Let me see, Madame Zaza gently unlaced Delphi's ballet shoe and turned Delphi's ankle this way and that. Delphi caught her breath. It really did hurt. Can you move your toes? Madame Zaza asked. Delphi nodded and wriggled them. It is probably just a sprain, Madame Zaza said after examining it a moment longer. But you will need to go to hospital to have it checked over. Hopefully, it should be back to normal in a week or so. Poppy and Lola gasped. A week? Said Delphi in dismay. But what about the show? Madame Zaza looked at her sadly. I'm afraid you are not going to be better in time to dance in it, Delphi. Suki will have to take the part of the bluebird. Tears welled up in Delphi's eyes, blinding her so she couldn't see the expression on Suki's face. She didn't need to see it though. She knew just how delighted Suki would be. And the first chapter ends here. Stay tuned for